All right, and welcome to another edition of the Jack Attack Show. This will be episode 3, I believe. And look at this, we're doing it so close to each other because usually you have to wait a whole year to get another episode. But I decided I gotta get back more into the swing of doing these more often. You get more reps doing stuff like that, not wait in a year span. So today's hopefully going to be a much quicker show because we only got one thing to talk about. But hopefully we cut this thing down. Hopefully I'm going to shoot for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, and it's going to be just one topic, and that topic's going to be Darvin Ham. It was reported that the Lakers were going to make him their coach about 6 days ago. It became official yesterday, I believe, either yesterday or the day before that. So I'm just going to go into a couple things. We're going to talk about what this means for their offense, who his assistant's going to be, the terms of the contract, what can we expect that the Lakers front office does with him. And I'll talk a little bit about his, coaching tenure as of now. I'll tell you right now, pretty quick rush to the top for Darvin Ham. So let's get into it. As we start with this show, let's get into the what this means for his. It was reported for his control. Frank Vogel got a raw end of the deal. He did not pick his assistants. He was watched quite frequently during practices by upper management, Kurt Rambis, what have you, and it did not let him. It's very tough being a coach when you're micromanaged like that, and maybe the Lakers saw what they did, and they're like, "Oh, we can't have that happen again, so let's change that." I don't know. I would have given Frank Vogel more control, knowing that he's got experience, and Darvin does not have that much. But from the report I heard that they're going to let Darvin pick the assistants. They're going to give him a longer leash. They're not going to micromanage his practices. So that's a huge sign. That's a huge sign for him. I'm happy for him. I just would have liked to see that with Vogel. That's all. He's got a 4-year deal. So it definitely does look like this is going to be their guy. With Vogel, it was just it definitely felt like a year by year basis. Even when they signed him, it was one of those things where it was Lou pretty much the whole stretch, and they kind of fell apart with contract negotiations, and then it's like, oh, I guess we'll get Vogel. And Pelinka spun it like, oh, he was our guy all along. He really wasn't, and it felt like every year was a evaluation, and you just can't coach like that. So he's going to be a coach, and he shouldn't be sweating and looking over his shoulder because he's got a 4-year deal. So I'm happy for him. I really am. What does this mean for the offense? So if you do not know, which is fine, I'm not going to criticize you. He was the assistant, which I'll get more into his career, for the Bucks from 18 to 22 with Budenholzer, and he runs a very wide open offense, a lot of motion with Giannis, shooters. Now it helps when you have shooters, so the Lakers would have to get shooters and stuff like that, more shooters, I guess I would say, but I guess it would be interesting to see how it works with Russell Westbrook, because it looks like by all accounts, the Lakers are keeping Westbrook. So that's the thing. They're definitely going to be keeping Westbrook. So it's going to be interesting to see. Apologize. It's going to be interesting to see how he works in with Westbrook, his new offense, the flow of things. LeBron, AD, whenever AD, stays healthy for more than 85% of the season, that is going to be very important. It's going to be interesting to see how he works in with the role players too. If we do re-sign Malik Monk, which now that we got a coach, that should be one of the important things. I know that was swept in the rug like it's, important move number 12 for the Lakers, but it's like, it's more important than you think, because if we don't sign Monk, our guard depth is nothing. You're looking at Austin Reeves, Kendrick Nunn, who didn't play a whole year. I mean, it looks bleak fast, so it's more important than you think. But no, it's going to be, like I said, very interesting to see how that offense works. I actually heard about this on the Mason and Ireland show a couple days ago. They pushed around the idea of Westbrook being a crazy man, sixth man, like a wild Tasmania off the bench, playing your 23, 28 minutes off the bench. I wouldn't mind that, actually. Now, would Westbrook mind that? Getting paid the amount he is and what have you. We'll see. We'll definitely see, because he had a very tough year this year with fans getting after him and death threats. My thoughts around that. If you want to be a fan is short for fanatic. I get that. But if you're doing death threats, you need to get a life. The Lakers are my life. I understand that. I'm never doing stuff like that. So that stuff, you're always going to have the 1%, 2% of fans that are just a-holes. And I feel for Russ. I would feel for his family. I do. He shouldn't be going through stuff like that. The Westbrook stuff, that's name calling. You're gonna have to toughen up on that stuff. But the death threats, there's no place for that anywhere, any league, anyhow. Just completely uncalled for. But yeah, if he's gonna want to, like, I'm backtracking here. I'm going all over the place. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if he wants to do that six man. It'd be kind of interesting to see him do that role, because here comes this guy with reckless abandon, just all craze for these 23, 28 minutes. So that would be kind of fun and enticing and intriguing to see what he does in those bench minutes. Like, ooh, here's this wild Banji coming in. So with all that being said, the next order for business that we should talk about is what his assistants are going to look like, because like I previously said in this video, the Lakers are going to let him pick his assistants. So a couple names that I heard about: Terry Stotts, who was in the Lakers candidates for one of their candidates to get the head coaching position; James Borrego, former Hornets coach who got fired. I really like him. He did a great job with not the greatest talent in Charlotte. Took them to play-in game, and I think the playoffs as well. So I like Borrego. Got the run of the deal there, but I think some other ones I heard was Sam Cassell, assistant for the Sixers, been following Doc around for 6 years with from the Clipper days. I think there was a couple more. Mark Jackson was another name I heard. So it's going to be very interesting. It's very interesting to see what he does with how he fills out this assistant head coaching roster. I would kind of want, as someone said, and I agree with, head coaching experience. So Borrego would fill in that, or a Terry Stotts. Sam Cassell, not so much, because he's just been a lifelong assistant coach at the moment. But a Borrego, a Stotts, a Mark Jackson would make sense, because you are helping pretty much a lifelong assistant coach through the rigors of the NBA season, because they've done this before. Your Jacksons, your Borregos, your Stotts. Like, giving him advice, giving him help, giving him tutelage. And so those would be the kind of moves that I would understand. The Kenny Atkinson move would also be a nice assistant coach pool, because he was also one of the finalists to assistant coach for the Warriors, the Warriors always make nice moves, and he got also another raw end of the deal with the Nets. Didn't have the greatest roster. This was before Kyrie, the D'Angelo Russell, the Dinwiddie teams, and took them to the playoffs. So, he's got some good coaching there. So, I wouldn't mind him being an assistant as well. So, before we end this, I want to give a little bit of a rundown of his coaching career. I'm kind of going a little all over the place, but and then I'll close with how I think he will do as a coach, or I'll do a little insight on what the reputation is, or what his feeling around the league is of how people think of him as a coach and the signing. So he started his career from the 08-10 season with the Albuquerque Thunderbirds as an assistant. It was a G League team that is no longer around because his last couple years still playing was with the Albuquerque Thunderbirds. So he just went from playing to coaching on that same team. So then from 10 to 11, he was the New Mexico Thunderbirds coach, which is now the G League Cavs team. They just moved over. I think they're the Cleveland Charge or something like that. I could be wrong on that. Then hold on. Let me make this right here. It is the Cleveland Charge. Okay, I was right on that. So then from 11 to 13, he was a Lakers assistant. So he was around the rough end to Kobe's career. You hate to see it, but he was around during that time. The awful roster construction, and he was around during that time. Then from 13 to 18, he was a Hawks assistant. So it's looking like he was around Bud pretty much the entire time, because he looks like he fouled him when Bud took the job in 18 with the Bucks. And so he was there from 13 to 18 with the Hawks as an assistant, and then from 18 to 22 as he followed Bud as a Bucks assistant, and then just a couple days ago we have the Lakers head coach. So I want to get to a little bit of feedback from the league. I know Bud has spoke really highly of him and how everyone just raves about him. I'll give a quick little insert. This is via the Bally Sports Southeast. When the Hawks were talking about Darvin Ham, this was a sideline reporter speaking about the Kobe and Darvin Ham. He had daily sessions after practice because Darvin was a physical player. He's a physical coach, Kobe said, and I love that. That he's helped my game. So that's something you really love to hear. Kobe, God rest his soul, just spoke so highly about him. So that's very important and really cool that Kobe said that even in his times when he wasn't doing too well in these last couple years with the Lakers. So that's really cool. And then obviously LeBron's going to show love to Darvin Ham as well. So, and like I said, all the Bucks players are going to speak very highly of him. You're not going to see someone be like, I just despise Darvin Ham. They're going to speak highly of him. Not saying that's a bad thing, but when assistants go and get that first head coaching job, the players on that last assistant coach team is going to be like, rave him like he's Gandhi. And is that true? Are they just speaking because they don't want to say anything bad about him? We'll wait and see. I think the reputation's real if Kobe's saying stuff like this, because he does not give out compliments like candy. So and what do I think he's going to do in his coaching? We'll see if he can elevate talent. That's going to be huge, because the talent pool right now on this roster is not great. So it's going to be up to him trying to elevate the talent, because this is not Bucks Milwaukee talent. So he's going to have to, take this roster and get them 10, 15 wins more, and that's how you get into Coach of the Year candidacy talk. And I'm not saying he's going to win Coach of the Year. I'm not saying that, but that's how you get there, winning 10, 15 games more than you expected. We'll see if we get more shooters, whether if we trade somebody or go in the draft. That's going to be interesting. My expectations on the season, I can't give you that, but I am excited. I'm excited for Darvin Ham. I'm excited what he's going to bring, and I'm optimistically excited, and I can't wait to see what he does. And I'm excited for his first stint as an NBA head coach. He hasn't been an actual head coach since the G League with that New Mexico Thunderbirds. He's been an assistant, all the way from the 11th season in the NBA. So I'm very excited for him. Can't wait. Like I said, there's going to be a more condensed Jack Attack show. We're right now at 16 minutes. So got all my bullet points out the way. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, and take care.